Before we begin, I would like to actually apologize for a few things. Number one is the title of my last Tobi video. The Tobi drama is dumb, and here's why. I really should have picked a better title, because it comes across as me saying anyone who's talking about the Tobi drama is dumb. So now that this video is out, I'm just gonna rename that video Tobi Drama. I know me saying I just picked a bad title and I should have picked a better one sounds kind of like a cop-out. And if you don't want to believe me, that's perfectly fine, I understand. Even if it wasn't my intention, I still made the mistake nonetheless. Just so you all know, I do think Tobi has done bad things. A lot of bad things, and I think people have every right to call her out for them. We just didn't talk about Tobi that much in our video because there's already dozens upon dozens of videos on her. I also want to apologize for jumping on this Tobi drama way too late. Because I work a full-time job and I often hire editors, a video can take about 2 weeks to be fully finished. And collabs take the longest of all. I was really having a hard time getting Butters and Manga Common to finish up their lines. I also thought the Tobi drama was still going because I think there was a video that came out just 5 days before mine on Tobi. And Luke's second most recent video on Tobi was less than 3 weeks old. I'm often late for a bandwagon, it's kind of what I'm known for. But my intentions were not to revive the drama. But unfortunately I did, and for that, I am sorry. Sorry for how dead Manga Common sounded throughout the video, he was having some IRL problems. And I also didn't realize how close of a friend Butters was with Tobi until we got started on the video. Also, my editor would like me to apologize on his behalf for the chaotic editing, especially how fast the screenshots flew across the screen. I did ask him to slow it down, but by that point he already deleted the folder and everything. As for the black SpongeBob he put up when I was reading Kai's comment, that's an inside joke between me and my editor from the race bending video. We didn't mean for it to come across as racist, but it kind of did. So I do apologize for that. For the love of God, I don't know why he thought it was a good idea to put it in, but if I asked him to take it out, then the video would have taken even longer to upload, so I was kind of screwed either way. If you don't want to believe me, that's perfectly fine. You can assume I was rubbing my hands maliciously and saying, yes, yes, and when I read Kai's comment, put up a black SpongeBob. That will be really offensive. At first I was confused where a lot of the backlash was coming from, but a lot went wrong to make this big mess happen. This is the most backlash I have ever received on any videos I have made, and I am willing to take the L on a few things. That L can represent a loss or a learning experience. I have been doing an awful lot of winning lately, but that's the problem. If you win too much, you don't learn anything. And I have finally figured out exactly how this drama got so messy, but I'm not going to go over it until the end of the video. Okay, so this is going to sound weird, but I'm recording this part last. The thing I recorded before this was the middle portion I recorded, and the stuff after this is the first thing I recorded. I know that all sounds backwards, and that's because it is. But now I'm finally thinking about everything with a clear head. You see, my boss was making me work a lot, 8 days in a row. Mainly because I was planning for vacation, and on top of that I got sick, and I started breaking out in hives, or rust as us robots call it. You know that video J Animations made where she got hives? Yeah, basically exactly like that. That's also why the portion of this video sounds really off, because I'm recording it on my laptop at my parents' house, and I forgot my microphone screen, so I'm actually using a spaghetti strainer. No, I am not making that up, I wish I was. I did have a theory at the end of this video explaining how this whole thing got so out of hand, but it was slightly off from the truth. Spoctor allowed me to see a sneak peek of his video about how this whole thing got out of hand, and let me tell ya, it really puts everything into perspective for me. First, allow me to explain my role in this whole drama and how I used to originally perceive everything. If you haven't seen Spoctor's video yet, I highly recommend you go check it out. He explains things in far better detail than I could. And for those of you who have seen Spoctor's video, well, then you know exactly what I'm going to say. I didn't really know who Kai was, who Omnia was, who Tobi was, who a lot of these people were, but I did know Nani and Harsh. I saw their videos about the whole Tobi drama, and I thought they were alright. I didn't pay attention that much, I mostly just skimmed them. I looked at the comments, saw that a lot of people were calling both Nani and Harsh racist, and I was really confused by it. And I saw a ton of comments saying that they were being biased against Tobi, even though they were bringing up a lot of the bad things Tobi has done, which really confused me. On top of that, people in the commentary community who weren't really involved were being pulled into the drama, like Madlibs, Manga Common, and a few others. Hopeless Peaches got a ton of backlash, and she'd even make a video about this situation. Now, I forgot exactly what happened first. I can't remember if Thuman uploaded her video, then Nani removed her video, or vice versa. Thuman in her video, intentionally or unintentionally, kind of made it sound like our entire community was just a bunch of white people gaining up on two small black creators. Now, combine all of that with Luke's extremely rabid fanbase joining in on this whole situation, and what Kai said about Harsh, about how she's a white woman who should never say the things she said, and kind of intentionally or unintentionally drawing parallels between Harsh's BLM thing on her Twitter and Tobi's BLM thing. What I saw was Nani running away and Harsh being by herself, being labeled as a racist, being ganged up on by people who said that they were the real ones getting ganged up on. Needless to say, I got a little too emotional and jumped in on this situation a little too quickly. Manga Kamen was also going to jump in on this situation, but he was having a few IRL problems. So I offered to do a collab with him, and I also took along Butters because she wanted to do another collab with me, and she was in a collab with me in Manga Kamen before. But shortly after we got started, I discovered she was a pretty close friend of Tobi, but I didn't think it would be that big of an issue. My intentions were to get everybody who wanted to talk about this drama but was too afraid of the slander to finally jump in and speak their mind. I really thought people were just mad at Harsh and Nani because they were misunderstanding the situation. People were just really mad at Tobi, so if you said anything bad about anyone who didn't like Tobi, you were labeled a Tobi simp. After my video, everybody was ramping up to finally talk about this situation. I was getting praise, everything was going great. Then prison mate Luke responded to me. A lot sooner than I expected, and things really started falling apart. More and more people jumped in on this situation. My Discord server got raided once or twice. People were slandering me, calling me a pedo. After watching Luke's entire video about me, I felt like he intentionally twisted a few things. And I watched the beginning of Kai's video and made it to the part where he said, "Jar, you do realize black people have more problems than white people, right?" At this point, I got really pissed off. I thought Luke was intentionally twisting things because he hated Tobi that freaking much. And I started gathering the commentary community and a few other people to wage a holy war against all of them. Then Spoctor took me aside and explained something that I, Kai, Omnia, Thuman, Nani, Harsh, and pretty much everybody else missed. And it makes this whole thing absolutely fucking hilarious.
Benton Lou's a pedophile on Twitter who draws underage characters fucking. Some of them he ages up, like physically.
You see, this drama dated a little bit further back than Nani and Harsh originally thought. And Kai and Omnia didn't do the best job at recapping everything. Nani and Harsh assumed Kai and Omnia might have been up to something. And Kai and Omnia thought Nani and Harsh were buddies with Tobi and she was the one who sent them after them. Thuman's video made everything worse, my video made everything worse, Luke's video made everything worse, everything anyone did from this point onward made everything worse. And it's because we were assuming arrogance on everyone's part and not ignorance. Harsh, Nani, and especially myself really should have done more research on this situation. Kai, Omnia, Thuman, and Luke should have explained things a little bit better. In the end, it was all just a big, goofy misunderstanding. I freaking love this community. Whether it's watching Sonic 93, a very well-respected ranter, fall, or watching the most hilarious drama unfold from someone who other people didn't believe was 8 years old. To people who called me a pedo because they thought I was defending child porn. You do realize that's basically what Prismate Luke, Omnia, Kai, and a bunch of other people were doing with Ben the Looney, right? They don't think Ben the Looney is a pedo. And they don't think Tobi is one either. Now that I understand the full context about Tobi bringing this allegation up, in a video about her dead dog, it really changes everything for me. So ironically, the people accusing me of being a pedo are doing exactly what Tobi did. Hilarious. As the old saying goes, when one points a finger, they have 3 more pointing back at them. To everybody who told me I shouldn't make a part 2, or defend myself, or delete my first Tobi video. Well, I knew something was off and I finally discovered it. Luckily, thanks to me getting involved, I think I somewhat cleared up Harsh's and Nani's names. Because I finally understand where the miscommunication was coming from. To everybody who said I brought this entire drama up just for views and subs, grow the fuck up. I'm pretty sure all of you are a little too old to use the whole "you're just doing this for views, money, and attention" argument. I feel like I'm back in middle school again. If people don't want views and money, they wouldn't upload video. Also, the video got a pretty average amount of views as most of my other videos get. Also, me, Luke, and most of the people involved in this situation are well known for being trend hoppers. Even if I am doing this for views and subs and money, okay, so what? That's not an argument. To everybody in the commentary community who's getting slandered and they're not apologizing because they believe they did something wrong, but because they believe that will end the slander, you're not doing the right thing. Don't apologize if you can't figure out what you did wrong. It's a sign of weakness. I even thought about doing it, but I stopped myself in time. And now I actually know what the problem is. Most of all, I really want to thank Spoctor. I would have been completely fucked if it wasn't for him. And now that I explained all of this, allow me to show you the original thing I recorded. If I didn't record anything else before this point and I just uploaded this, man, the entire situation would have been 10 times worse.
Just a robot.
Hey guys, I'm a little sick, I caught a computer virus, but unfortunately I need to make a video because Prismate Luke responded to me. He has less subscribers than me, but he gets more views per video, so this is definitely going to be an uphill battle. Now I just want to say I don't hate Prismate Luke, I actually really like his content, even after he made this video on me. And if he wants to make a response to my Tobi video or any of my other videos, that's totally cool. I criticize other people on YouTube, so it's only fair that I get criticism as well. It's only fair. So the title of his video is, Why is the Tobi drama still going on? To answer that question for you, mate, I'm well known for jumping on a bandwagon late. I even put this clip in the video.
He is always late on a trendy subject and jumps onto them when they are dead. That of course is just a robot.
I was getting a lot of comments from people saying this drama's a month old, why are you talking about it? But if I made the Tobi video right when this drama started, people would have said things like, you're just jumping on a bandwagon for views, so I'm really doomed if I do, doomed if I don't.
If there's one word I could use to describe the Tobi drama as a whole, it would be bloated. Like, out of everything the art commentary community could talk about, this is what they want to make big. This is the garbage fire you want to put yourselves into for no reason.
I mean, I really don't want to make the situation big. I thought my video was going to be the last one on the subject, but here we are. But yeah, I do agree with you. This whole drama is a garbage fire.
And I do think that Kai and Omnia could have handled the drama better. I won't argue with that. But my problem with a lot of the people that have put themselves into this drama is that they've been really biased, unreasonable, and just really scummy about this whole thing.
Those are quite the allegations, my good sir, but I'll keep watching your video to see what you have to say.
Because in his community post he was talking about making a video saying how he was forced into this against his will, like someone had a gun to his head or something making him hop on this train wreck. If you want to make a video on it, make a video. Don't act like anyone's making you do it. Maybe don't make dumb tweets if you don't want people calling you out.
Actually, that did happen. I put a gun up to Manga's head and told him if he doesn't join me for a collab, I would end his existence. I'm just joking, of course, but I think he's talking about Thuman's video that finally pushed him over the edge. Now, just so this doesn't get too confusing, the video he's responding to uses my kitchen background, so I'm just going to be using the background Bard made for me so you guys understand what's going on. This video starts off with a message saying, "Please don't attack anyone mentioned in this video." But looking at Harsh's video, it got a ton of dislikes, and some of the worst hate comments I have ever seen. And yes, if you look at the comments, you can clearly tell they didn't even watch the video.
If you don't know who they're talking about, Harsh Opinions is a YouTuber who made a video on Omni and Kai's side of the Tobi drama, and I didn't have a problem with it just because they were criticizing Kai and Omnia. Again, they could have handled things better, but the video itself was really bad, biased garbage. And before you say I'm just saying it for the mob, or that I've never watched the video, I've actually watched it multiple times. I actually watched it before it got more dislikes than likes, but the video itself is just bad. It's really bad. It leaves out a lot of important information that gives actual context to what Kai and Omnia said, and it's just needlessly judgmental, like complaining about how Omnia leaked the DMs after Tobi said she lied about them, so she's supposed to not defend herself from a bigger creator. She also just wrote off Kai as nothing more than a simp, and it's disrespectful to both of them. Now, she isn't the only person to call him a simp. Butters decided to do it too, which I fail to see the argument in that, and it's only vindictive.
Leaking DMs is leaking DMs, it's not really defending yourself. If someone said to me, "You took the conversation out of context," I would have asked them to prove how I'm taking it out of context, or asked them for permission if I could leak the full DMs. Daft Peanut does this all the time. Leaking DMs is not illegal or anything, it's just kind of a dick move. I don't think it's super bad that they did this, just a little bad. Aside from this point, he doesn't really make any arguments against Harsh's videos, so I can't really talk about it too much. I really don't think Kai is a simp or anything, but I've also gotten plenty of spam comments calling me a simp on my video. I'm assuming they think I'm defending Tobi when I'm really not. I criticize her in my video as well, but whatever.
But ignoring a lot of the criticism he gave and just boiling him down to nothing, and writing off both Kai and Omnia is insulting. And when your whole argument boils down to Kai being a simp, taking things out of context, or not giving any context to begin with,
okay, I completely disagree with this. She wasn't just writing off Kai and Omnia. I also saw Kai's response to her, and he didn't really bring up how things were taken out of context or no context was given. If anything, he took out like 3/4 of her video, so if anyone's doing it, it's Kai. And her argument wasn't just, he's a simp and that's it. Also, I rewatched Harsh's 42-minute long video, and she doesn't call Kai a simp once. She does, however, call him a white knight 2 times. Once at the beginning, around 2 minutes 47 seconds.
So what I am going to be responding to today is Kai's 10-minute video who is white knighting harder than Cinderella at a neckbeard festival.
And another time around 38 minutes 25 seconds.
If you really have any amount of trust and respect for her, you would let her speak out and defend herself. This just only continues to confirm to me of how much of a white knight you're being for Omnia.
Now you can say that white knight and simp are basically the same thing, but she only did it 2 times in a 42-minute long video. I think her video is a little bit more complicated than just calling Kai a simp.
and attacking them for defending themselves from multiple bigger creators accusing them of lying, then I don't see how that video's any good.
Multiple bigger creators? Wasn't Harsh's video on them the first one? I guess you could also include Tobi's video, I guess. But I keep hearing this point, a whole bunch of people are getting up on Kai and Omnia. They're really not. It was just Harsh and Nani who made a video, and that's it. Hopeless Peaches didn't make a video. Madlibs didn't make a video. And before someone says, well, we weren't talking about them making a video, we were talking about them tweeting. Tweets usually do like 100 times less good than a video. Most people are not even going to see a few tweets here and there, so I really don't see what the big deal is. But if you keep this up, eventually your wish is going to become true. Also, Harsh wasn't saying they can't defend themselves. I don't even know where you got that from.
And in my opinion, she got the backlash she deserved. And yes, it did get a lot of dislikes. What's your point? Kai stated not to attack her, and it isn't his fault if other people have opinions. And if she got a lot of dislikes, maybe it's because the video wasn't good. People were calling her out because yet again, she was leaving out a ton of garbage Tobi did, and overhyping what they did. Harsh never brought up the transphobia part once. You know, the main thing people were calling out Tobi for?
From what I was seeing, most people were hating on her video because they perceived her to be a racist. Mostly for the can of worms comment, and while it was definitely poorly worded, Kai made it sound way worse than it really is, and people freaked out about it as if it's the worst thing you can say to a black person. And that's really what I took issue with. And yeah, Harsh didn't mention a lot of the things Tobi did, but this is literally the you didn't mention X therefore biased argument. Harsh's video was about Kai and Omnia, not Tobi. If you want to see a video criticizing Tobi, there's dozens of them out there. Like, I really didn't have a problem with your videos for the most part, Prismate Luke. That's why I didn't really talk about them.
I really don't want to get into the topic of the race comments because that's a whole other can of worms that really didn't need to be fucking open.
Okay, first off, yikes. Second, you're right. Tobi isn't a mind reader, but neither is Omnia. Also, notice how both of us are speaking on their behalves right now? Just wanted to point that out. Omnia may have consented to the conversation, but she could not have expected Tobi to go on a rant about racism versus racial insensitivity. Also, a can of worms that didn't need to be fucking opened? You're a white woman. Who are you to say that? That can of worms is open for me and Omnia both, every day of our lives as black people. If that BLM in your Twitter name meant anything, you would know how foolish it is to say this.
Who are you, as a white woman, to say this? Shut the fuck up, bro. That is actually racist. A black man can say what he wants, just like a white girl. Also, she isn't white, she's mixed. She even said, I don't want to get into the topic of the race comments.
Now, as funny as it would be for a white person to call out other white people and what minorities should be offended by, it's not something I'm going to talk about because it isn't up to me to decide it. What I will bring up is one of the main points against Tobi was her defending and accepting Shane's apology for racism on the behalf of all black people. So again, she's ignoring one of the biggest points against Tobi for no real reason. So whether or not the can of worms comment was racist, it doesn't change how leaving it out leaves out important information.
You know, for someone who claims to have watched Harsh's video multiple times, you conveniently leave out the part where she talked about the whole Shane Dawson situation.
Like, Tobi, there was no need for you to try to puff up your chest the way you did. And I don't even want to talk about the whole Shane Dawson thing, because Jesus Christ, that was just an all-around train wreck. I'm sorry, but like, why? Just why?
Yes, Harsh did say she doesn't want to talk about it, but that's not her ignoring it. But she did say Tobi's point about Shane was an all-around train wreck. So I don't think she's just ignoring the situation. But as for the whole transphobic stuff, I'll just bring in Future Butters to talk about that for me. Considering she is actually, you know, trans.
Omnia and Kai, you're like a spring-loaded pair of boxing gloves. When people dare to even question you, or even dare to be skeptical about your arguments, your responses are less than stellar. Also, it's a little egocentric to just assume people are talking about you. Like when you both got on the case of Madlibs because you both thought she was talking about you two. When you two were too rash not to check the dates. Your video came out on the 19th and the tweet here is the 16th. Dumbass.
What the fuck? How the hell do you screw that up? The fact that both of you blew up over this situation on a tweet that didn't even address you at all? kind of makes me feel like you're afraid of criticism yourselves.
And to be fair, both of them realized this, and in a follow-up video, Kai actually admitted to this. But this was a bit of a red flag to us, that you yourselves would get uber defensive on the matter just because people would question you in your videos.
I wouldn't have minded these criticisms at the time, or if they had never addressed it, because genuinely they should have made sure of the Mad Libs treats, and it was defensive. I won't deny that, it was very defensive. But you wanna know something? You admitted yourselves they've apologized for it, and they moved on. You wanna know who hasn't moved on? You people. It's literally been over a month since they've done those things and have apologized for it, and you people keep harping on the two same points, like it's as bad as what Tobi did. Were they transphobic? Were they massive hypocrites? Did they never apologized for it and kept uploading it like it was nothing? No.
Well, actually, Tobi did apologize for the transphobic thing. Granted, she kind of went back on it, at least from what I've heard, but considering Butters is cool with Tobi, I mean, if a black person's opinion is more valid than a white person's opinion on Shane's apology, then a trans person's opinion should be more valid than a cis person's opinion on what Tobi said about the whole transphobia thing.
You can say how this video isn't about Tobi, but it's just cherry-picking the two bad things they did and have apologized for, and equating it to this godforsaken crime. It's dumb. It's really dumb.
Again, another you didn't mention X therefore bias argument, but I'm really not trying to say what a black person can or cannot be offended by. It just ticked me off that he said, "Who are you as a white woman to say this? She isn't white, she's biracial," and the can of worms comment really isn't racist. We actually got started working on this video weeks ago, and the script was even written before that. That's why we brought up the whole, yes, they did apologize for this. Also, again, we're really not trying to say Tobi did not do nothing. Tobi did a lot of bad stuff, but the thing is, there's already like a dozen videos on her. If you want to see a video criticizing Tobi, go watch those. But sure, if you don't take my word for it, I'll say it right now. Tobi, for the stuff you did wrong, apologize for it. I don't think Kai or Omnia are worse than Tobi or anything like that. I just thought they got away with a few things that not too many people were bringing up, that's all.
But what I find funny is the response from Kai in that video's comment section.
I don't agree with a lot of this video, but I'm always open to different perspectives being out there. I appreciate your take on this, even if we stand on opposite sides.
Not gonna lie, this kind of response irks me on a personal level. Because not only does harsh opinions make it clear in her video at the beginning that she isn't standing with Tobi, even criticizing her as well at the beginning, and saying that she's being neutral.
Not really an opposing side. She's a third party who, by her own decisions, finds you and Omnia on the same level as Tobi.
I get that Butters is Tobi's friend, and if she wants to be friends with Tobi, go ahead. But how does saying you're not biased or that you're neutral automatically make you not biased when you do this opinionated, unreasonable crap? Even Butters said how harsh holds them to the same level as Tobi. And if you think not blurring one personal story and getting angry on Twitter is equivalent to half of the garbage Tobi's done, you're delusional. I'm sorry, but how do you not see the flaw in that? How is that not unbiased? Please tell me.
You know what, Luke? That's actually a pretty good point. Butters really shouldn't have said that, and I kind of regret letting her be in the video to a slight extent. I only invited her in because she did that video with me and Manga Comment on My Little Pony, but I didn't realize how close of a friend she was with Tobi until later.
Like, let's not address the fact that you and Omnia implied that Tobi could be a pedo. When you do that, it makes me and everyone else who knows about the situation look at you like you're dumb as a bucket of bricks. Because there's clearly a problem if you're tiptoeing around your fuck-up.
Yeah, you didn't use the exact words, but you heavily implied it. And that's something I do take issue with. Especially since the intelligence of your local drama seeker tends to be in the single digits. So you have to be very careful with your words, especially when talking about a subject like this.
Again, to be fair, you did say that you and Omnia don't think she's a pedo, but please, for the love of all that's holy, go through other script writing so you don't get people thinking that you're making an implication like that.
Now, Tobi's point was that people who draw porn of kids are pedos. But Todoroki isn't a kid. He's 16, old enough to drive. The age of consent in most states is 16. Now I understand a few of you might say, that's basically the whole, it's not pedophilia, it's a femophilia argument. Fine, I get that. But she didn't draw porn of him. I don't like the movie Cuties, but it isn't porn. Suggestive? Yes. Inappropriate? Yes. But porn? No. Also, she did it one time. Just once. Jesus Christ, get over yourselves. You're acting like she's Shadman and she does this all the time.
This argument is dumb, and it's something I've seen brought up over and over again despite it taking what they said out of context. They specifically said by her logic multiple times in their videos. A logic Tobi created. If Tobi didn't want to be held by the standard that if you draw children sexually, you're a pedo, she should have never said it.
Okay, to be fair, I should have worded my point a little bit differently here. I should have brought up how they said by her own logic. That was my bad. Wait, hang on a second. Why didn't I bring that up? Oh yeah, now I remember. It's because Manga Common brought it up. In fact, looking at your video, you conveniently edited this part out.
You want an example on how to phrase this better in my opinion? Toby, while that is a strong statement to make, and one that a lot of people will agree with, you need to be careful because in your past you yourself drew highly suggestive art of an underage anime character. People are going to look at that and make the correlation that you are being hypocritical, especially in today's social climate and how Twitter likes to rage about anything. Saying that she's just as bad as the people she's talking about is language that gives off the mighty bad implication that she's one of them since she's just as bad. Not only does my example not come off as antagonistic, but it also makes it so I'm not making the implication and open myself up to slander. Although, just so people can be sure that I'm not on Tobi's side, I actually agree that what she did with Todoroki was dumb. That drawing of him without properly confirming that he's aged up as well as not doing proper research on the character, and that her excuses aren't really convincing me otherwise. I don't want people thinking that I'm defending Tobi, nor do I like her stuff with Shane Dawson. I think that was stupid too. I'm just making that clear since someone's gonna try to put that in my mouth because people have already done that. And I was just making jokes at the time.
Now, Prisonmate Luke, I'm trying really hard to be reasonable in this video. But for someone who keeps saying things like taking things out of context, or calling other people scummy, you just blatantly edited something to change what we said. Honestly, go fuck yourself. And also, I'm pretty sure Tobi's logic was about people who draw lolly and shota stuff, and not people who are just slightly under the age of 18. So I don't think it's her logic. Now, Luke, I understand you rushed this video, you made it in like 2 or 3 days. And copyright can be a bitch, so you had to cut out a few things. If you made a mistake and you're not doing this out of malicious intent, then I'm willing to accept that. Now, to be fair, while the age of consent can range from 16 to 18 depending on what state you're in, anything below the age of 18 is still considered to be cheese pizza. But still, Luke, Kai, Omnia, and a few other people don't think Tobi is a pedo. I'm just gonna say there are a ton of not safe for work images of My Hero Academia, but because it's not lolly or shota, I don't see too much of a problem with it. But as Manga Common said, she still shouldn't be doing this. If Todoroki looked exactly the way he did, but his age was 18, would it suddenly be magically okay? Just asking. Now, some people claimed that I was also defending the movie Cuties. I'm not. I did a full video about Cuties. Some people told me she tagged it with yaoi, which is literally gay anime porn. It's not. Yaoi just means gay, it doesn't have to be porn. Tagging it with not safe for work can range from a lot of different things. But the BDSM tag, yeah, that one's kind of damning. But it's still not porn, and if you think it is, you really should look up the definition. Now, some people also told me that in states where the age of consent is 17 or 16, that 17 and 16-year-olds can only have coitus with those of the same age as them. As someone who lives in Texas, that's bullshit. Once you're 17, you're good. I think I know my state's own laws.
God forbid people hold her to her own standard, especially since Tobi has no qualm in falsely accusing other people of the exact same thing. So again, why shouldn't they use her own standard? So it's fine for her to slander people with it, but when other people do it, it's suddenly not okay, and they deserve to be dogpiled on by the whole community?
No, it's not fine for anyone to slander anyone. I can't really comment about the whole Ben the Looney situation. I have heard a lot of questionable things about him, but I'm not going to comment on that situation until I know exactly what's going on for sure. Also, they're not being dogpiled on by the whole community. Stop saying that shit. I'm really getting sick of it.
And not only that, there's not only screenshots of her admitting that the Todoroki picture was just a yaoi piece and not some dark piece at all. She just lied about that.
Well, yaoi doesn't have to be porn, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
She's actually drawn NSFW of a Sailor Moon character, who is canonically 14, so this isn't some one-time thing that we need to forgive her for. Also, Todoroki's still a minor. She's in her mid-20s and should know not to sexualize minors either way, so I fail to see how this invalidates any of the criticism against her.
Okay, a lot of people brought up this point, that she did it 2 times, not just once, and yeah, to be fair, you guys got me there. She didn't do it once, she did it twice. Wow, so much more. Sailor Moon is no longer canonically 14, she's 16 now. You would know this if you actually did some basic research. I still don't really see this as a big deal because these characters don't look like kids to me. And yes, I understand that Todoroki is a minor, I brought it up in the video. But I care a lot more if someone draws Shota or lolly shit than someone who draws a character who is 17 or 16 in a provocative way. A 900-year-old lolly is still a lolly. A 16-year-old with abs is 16, but the age of consent is still 16 in most states. And America already has one of the highest age of consent laws, so I really don't see what the big deal is.
Can't get mad when people question you, when you outright admit to cherry picking. Doesn't matter if after the fact you showed context, you still made a conscious effort to choose 2 specific points. And people will want to know what the context is. You can't get mad at people who are going to call you out on that.
And that leads to the next point. Using the DMs at all. And no, Omnia, this is not an acceptable response. Because I'm going to explain something from a legal side. There's an expectation of privacy when it comes to direct messages, since it's a system that, by design, is meant to be kept for more public discourse, i.e. private. Even then, having seen the DMs myself, there's nowhere in that conversation did you inform Tobi that this would be using the DMs publicly. I admit, she shouldn't be speaking out like this, especially to a stranger, but at the same time, that doesn't give you the right to actually leak the DMs.
And seeing as how you reacted to people saying they were going to do a video on you, let us be completely blunt. You have shot your credibility!
Allow me to explain. By leaking the private conversation, any other chance you have to talk to someone you're going to be criticizing will be met with nothing but the cold shoulder. Because people won't be able to trust you since you're willing to leak these kinds of situations. If Tobi admitted a crime, yes, go for it. Expose her. Because that's good to do and your civic duty as a person.
But stuff like opinions, even stupid opinions that you might find offensive, that's a fat fucking nope.
If you want to say it's scummy, go ahead. But would you rather she show no context at all and just say it happened? She only showed the relevant DMs because, she wanted to keep it somewhat private. And when people called her out for not showing the whole thing and accused her of cutting it up, something Tobi herself did, she showed it. So I don't know how this shoots her credibility down by defending herself from people accusing her of lying. If you want to say that no one she ever does a video on again will talk to her again, then sure. But you don't usually talk to people you criticize. I would think as a commentary channel you would know that. Also, there's nothing illegal about leaking DMs. The fact that you brought up the legality of it baffles me. If you want to say it's scummy or that she should have told Tobi, then fine. I think it's personally stupid, but if that's what you want to think, go ahead.
Oh my god! He did it again! He edited out something I said to change our point. I said this is legal stuff. Here's the clip. This is legal stuff, and frankly, even if you disagree, this is still a stupid move on your part. Luke, you seriously need to stop doing shit like this, you disingenuous asshole! Unless, of course, this is just a mistake, you had to cut things for time. But for the love of all things that are holy, be more careful next time, jeez.
Now, I'm speaking to Madlib's Art and whoever else you're collaborating with on this supposed video y'all are making. Unless you're looking to end up like your little friend right here, just don't do it. You already look bad for getting yourself involved for no reason other than to do Tobi's dirty work. So just spare yourself the time and the inevitable tank in subscribers and just make some other video. I'm saying this for your own good. Take care of yourself.
Well, excuse me, princess.
First of all, you put it out there for the public, meaning anyone can give an opinion on the situation. They're not involved? Well, let's flip that. Why did you get involved, you dense-skulled leech? Tobi's dealings are her own, so why would you get involved in her situation? I'm not saying you can't, but yeesh. The mere thought that anyone could come to a different conclusion to you, or God forbid criticize you for how you acted during this situation is extremely hypocritical.
Again, to be fair, this was cut from her response from Tobi, but the fact that this was put in the final product anyway is kind of disgusting, and makes it seem like you can't take criticism either.
Now, I won't act like this isn't combative or very toxic, because it was. Like, genuinely speaking, that was really bad. But again, she apologized for this and edited it out, but it's you people who won't accept the apology.
Oh my god! This is the third time Luke has done this! Stop editing things out, Luke! Here's a clip from Manga Comment that he said later on in the video.
I also didn't initially buy Kai's reasoning for this, although having talked to him, I do believe him a little bit more, but it's a little bit shaky still from my perspective.
Now, to be fair, we should have made it more clear that they also apologized for this. I don't think you cut anything out maliciously here, at least not like the last two times. And I can somewhat agree with your point because we really should have brought that up. But please know we're not being as harsh to Kai as you might think.
And I find it funny how people constantly say how they think Tobi's in the wrong or aren't friends with Tobi, when they constantly come to her defense and vilify these two.
Okay, so Nani's point is that she's not being mean in her video. And she's never mean in her videos. She's almost always nice, at least from what I've seen. Hopeless Peach's comment is just saying she doesn't want to rush something and take her time and not just hopping on a bandwagon as soon as she can just to get them clicks. The two tweets you show really don't prove your point. Also, you haven't played a single clip from my video where we criticize Tobi. Almost as if you're twisting things. But you wouldn't do that, even though you've done it multiple times already. But you wouldn't do that.
And don't plan on making videos on what Tobi did, because they don't actually care about what she did.
Bro, there's already enough videos on Tobi, and I can use the same logic. You'll do videos on Tobi because you care about what she does, but you won't talk about Kai and Omnia because you don't care about what they do. See, I can use your same logic against you.
They just would rather dogpile on Kai and Omnia, because at this point, who hasn't?
Anyone who isn't Future Butters, Manga Comment, Just a Robot, Nani, and Harsh. That's it. And 3 of those are very recent. I didn't want to at first. This drama wasn't really my cup of tea. I was going to let Harsh Opinions, Nani, and whoever else wanted to jump on this bandwagon handle it. But when Kai made his response to Harsh, the amount of dislikes and the amount of hate comments she got was just not normal. I'm talking about Kai in this video right now. I'm several times his size. But I'm also telling people not to attack him, just like he did with Harsh. I highly doubt his video will get that many more dislikes. Now, maybe Harsh's and Nani's videos were terrible, but I watched them both. They were just as calm and collective as they normally are. I just don't understand why so much backlash. A lot of the comments on both Nani and Harsh's video are on the lines of, "I used to be a fan of you, but you just disappointed me. This is your worst video yet." Or, "I'm new to this whole situation. I don't know what's going on, but to me you seem a little bit biased in Tobi's favor. Why didn't you talk about her?" I've been on the internet for a very long time, and these comments seem majorly sus. It could be that the Tobi haters are really rabid, or Kai and Omnia have a little Discord group and they're getting a whole bunch of people to do a coordinated trolling attempt. But that seems like too much of a conspiracy for my taste. I think the comment that finally broke me and made me want to talk about this situation is this one right here. "I feel so bad for Kai and Omnia. Like, imagine the entire art community gaining up on you for making a valid criticism of someone." This is the top rated comment on another video joining in on the whole Tobi drama. Let me ask you this. Is the entire art community gaining up on Kai and Omnia? Fuck no! Look at the videos made by Kai and Omnia. That's a very good like to dislike ratio. Now let's look at the rating on Harsh's and Nani's video. Oof! I wonder who people are gaining up on, guys. It's just too hard for me to tell. Also, Nani and Harsh are not the entire art community. You are delusional if you think they are.
Maybe, just maybe, they were terrible videos that no one liked. Not only could you see if you took 2 seconds and checked it out yourself that you would know that Kai and Omnia don't have a Discord to organize some evil raid for.
Luke? Honey? Did you forget to edit this part out? But that seems like too much of a conspiracy for my taste. When I say, but that's too much of a conspiracy for my taste, I'm saying I don't think that's true. I just brought it up because other people were bringing it up and I didn't agree with it. Also, some people did like them. In fact, my video changed a few minds here and there. And I did it without editing what my opponents said, thank you very much.
And you're allowed to have an opinion, but just know I'm gonna call you out for your garbage one.
Luke, you have no room to talk.
Nani's another YouTuber who made a video on this, and she got called out for barely looking into it, and the video just being garbage.
And I'm going to call you out for being a liar. None of those comments made any arguments. I think you used the wrong screenshot, or you're just being disingenuous like you always are.
Hopeless decided to hop in on this and talk for Omnia when she was told not to, and she just won't leave it alone. Madlibs is apparently still making a video, so this isn't just Narni and Harsh. A lot of the community is ganging up on them.
1. Hopeless Peaches didn't make a video. 2. Manga Common, me, and Future Butters made our video. And in that video, we brought up the whole, why are you talking about this whole gaining up on people bullshit. So that one doesn't really count. Also, we do talk about Tobi in a negative way in this video, which you conveniently edit out. And her tweet barely got any attention, like most tweets from our community gets. Hopeless Peach's message to Omnia really doesn't seem that mean, like, at all. And I already talked about this tweet earlier, it's just her saying she's going to take time with something. As for Madlibs, she was pretty much dragged into this situation, so at this point she has every right to make a video. I also think now Hopeless Peaches is going to make a video. As the old saying goes, be careful for what you wish for, because you just might get it. The one thing I hope this video does is give the rest of the commentary community some backbone. I know a lot of you see the bullshit in this situation. Nani, make your video public again, and maybe make a part 2 while you're at it. Anyone else who wants to join in? Join in. If you want to criticize Tobi, go for it. Oh my god, he left something in. That makes it sound like I'm not saying Tobi didn't do nothing wrong. I'm just shocked and baffled. But the amount of hate people will get for not defending Tobi, but criticizing people who criticize her is outrageous. I don't really care about this Tobi situation, and I want this to be my first and last video about it. But if I have to make a part 2, then I will.
Yes, while the crowd, Nani does need to make her video public again, despite it spreading misinformation. Also, where's the backbone in ganging up on smaller creators because your friend's videos got disliked and you're butthurt about it?
They need a backbone because a lot of people see the bullshit in this situation, but they're afraid to talk about it because of all the slander they'll get. You and Thuman may have less subs than me, but both of you get more views per video than I do. Stop acting like it's the whole community ganging up on 2 small channels. I'm really getting sick of this shit.
There's none. You say how the community isn't ganging up on them, and then you tell the community to gang up on them.
No, I'm just telling them not to be afraid of all the slander you guys are spreading. And that includes you and Thuman as well, not just Kai and Omnia. Also, me, Harsh, and Nani all told our fanbase not to attack Kai. So I don't know where this whole gaining up on people narrative is coming from.
Not that they weren't doing it already, but still, you're not brave, you're not going against the grain.
Actually, we are. You're delusional if you think otherwise. My video now is going to get tons of dislikes because of your response. I did expect someone to respond to me, but it was Thuman and not you. And there are still way more videos on Tobi. I'm sorry, but we are going against the grain. I could have just talked a bunch of shit about Tobi and I would have gotten no backlash whatsoever.
He's thinking about quitting YouTube now because you people want to label him as nothing more than a simp and have riddled him down to nothing.
I didn't call him a simp in my video, shut the fuck up. But I'm getting a bunch of comments from your fans calling me a simp because you took out all but one of the times I said bad things about Tobi. And Kai is not quitting YouTube, he's making a video on me as I'm recording this. And you saying, was, but my point still stands. No, it doesn't. Kai is just a professional victim. Whether he's using the race card or, a bunch of big channels are gaining up on me.
You people can say how unbiased you are as much as you want, it doesn't change what it is. If this isn't biased towards Tobi, it's biased towards Norny and Harsh. And by the way, those people are very biased towards Tobi, so it just leads into the same thing either way. Now don't go harass the people I mentioned in the video. I know these people have a problem with saying that for some reason, but I just don't care anymore.
No, you moron. We don't have a problem with people saying that. At all. Harsh said it, I said it, Nani said it. I just brought it up because even though they said don't attack people, people attack them anyways. I more have a problem with people saying don't attack people and their fans attacking them anyways. Just look at my video after you responded to it. Now, I just want to say this, I did cut out a lot of Luke's video towards the end, mainly because I was just getting tired of responding and he was just repeating the same points over and over again. I'm also going to tell my fan base, for the love of God, don't attack Luke. Even though his fans attacked me, but please don't stoop to his fanbase's level. Instead, just go to my old Tobi video, click newest comments, and reply to Luke's fans with my video. Don't link it because it might end up in spam. Just tell them to check out my newest video. Now Luke, instead of making a response to my video, because a commentary on a commentary is really confusing, how about we just talk this out over on Discord? I understand you're friends with Omnia, so you might be biased in the situation and you might have been manipulated in some way. I just want you to understand, I do think Tobi has done bad things. A lot of bad things. Which you conveniently cut out in your video and don't mention that you cut them out. And I caught you using editing to manipulate what we have said a lot throughout this video. I understand you, Thuman, Kai, Omnia are all buddy-buddies. But the mask is slowly slipping. What makes talking about this situation is just how manipulative your group is. And how much people hate Tobi. So if you say anything bad about Tobi's hater, then you're just a simp for Tobi. I understand I also might be a little biased because Harsh and Nani are my friends. But I don't think either of them were being biased towards Tobi because at least Harsh called Tobi out for a few of the things she did in her video. And I think Nani was going to make a follow-up video where she talked about Tobi. I really think there might just be some miscommunication here and a few things got blown out of proportion. Maybe I was a little too mean in my video on you, Luke. Maybe some of the parts where you edited out what I was saying was just mistakes, but I hope if you make a follow-up you give some clarity. I understand you have made mistakes before, like in your Yandere dev video, and after watching your apology about that, I realized I made a few mistakes myself. And I do have respect for a guy who could at least admit to his mistakes, because very, very, very few YouTubers do that. I might make a Yandere follow-up video myself. At the time of me recording this, I believe Kai is making a video on me, where he's going to bring up the whole Discord coordinated attack statement. But he's probably going to ignore the part where I said, it's a bit too much of a conspiracy for my taste. I just don't think anyone who is saying anything bad about someone bashing Tobi should get a bunch of backlash for quote-unquote defending Tobi when they really aren't. Now for my theory for how this drama got so out of hand. Tobi did a few bad things, and Kai and Omnia called her out for it. Some of Tobi's friends defended her. Some of those people were in the commentary community. Combined with Omnia's statement about not getting involved, it made the commentary community very defensive and they jumped in a little too soon. And because a lot of people hated Tobi, anyone who said anything bad about people who didn't like Tobi would be labeled as a Tobi simp. Even people who weren't even involved like Manga Kamen, which is what caused me and him to get involved. This is how World War I started, people. One nation attacked one nation's friend, and that nation's attacked that nation's friend, and so on and so forth. We all just want to help our friends out, and that's understandable. I really could have handled my last video on Tobi better. A lot of small things went wrong that ended up creating a big mess. I'm not going to release this video until after Spoctor's video is up. The only thing I want Kai and Luke to work on is be a little bit more careful with how you word things. I understand that no one can control their audience, but with how you word some of your points, it gives off some mighty bad implications of the people you're talking about, causing people to get racism and even pedo allegations. I like to think I handled myself pretty well in this video, but that's up to the public to decide. Maybe I'll get a whole bunch of comments calling me stupid again, calling me a pedo, calling me a racist. But I'm definitely gonna get a bunch of comments saying Tobi did this, Tobi did that. Guys, Tobi has done bad things, a lot of which he still needs to apologize for. I'm not gonna be covering any other videos made on me, not even Kai's video. I can't respond to every single video made about me, and I'm just really exhausted with this whole situation. This is really not the hill I want to die on. I don't really care about the Tobi situation. In fact, I didn't hear about her until now. But I want to thank Spoctor for helping me out with this situation. I really owe you one, man. Keep being an awesome Scaly. Now that we're at the end of the credits, I just want to say one more thing. I hate to pull a South Park, but I learned something today. If your friends are in trouble, make sure to clear your mind before jumping in on their situation. Your intention should be to help, but if you don't know how to help, you could make everything so much more worse. Now that I'm on vacation at my parents' house, my mind is clear and I can finally see all the mistakes I have made. My last Tobi video certainly was a bad video, and I'm willing to take the L on something like this.